Right, Bernard, try speaking. Bernard? Oh, excellent. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, Bernard, this is wonderful. Yes, yes. Oh, Bernard. Yes, we are friends. Oh, you don't know how happy that makes me to hear you say that word. Makes it all seem worthwhile. Well, I would say, even though I'm not an expert in robotics, this has been a success. Who would have thought it? Dalek drone technology fused with cyber technology and a few other odds and ends thrown in. Oh, stay still, something's coming loose. I think that's got it. Just don't make any sudden moves. This is adequate, but it is a temporary measure. I intend to give you the very best that an AI can have in this universe, but it will take me time to gather the right parts. But I suppose you're mechanical, and I'm a lord of time, so both of us have all the time in the world. And speaking of time, you might wonder about how long it has been since we were locked in that cell on that Stealth 900 TARDIS. Well, not so very long ago, I suppose, but a lot happened from the moment I deactivated you and took your power cells. And again, my sincere thanks, because without that power source, well, things may have gone very different for both of us. So, as I said to you, in my original plan, I took the primary power cell from you and used it to trip open the door of the cell. And then I was out, and I was running through that short corridor and burst into the control room. The commander and the Castellan were surprised. Thankfully, the bigger threat, the commander, wasn't able to draw his sidearm to stun me. I launched myself at him and stunned him with the auxiliary power cell, which burnt out on contact. But he was stunned, and that was the aim. Then I turned my attention to the Castellan, who, because he didn't carry any sort of weapon, ran around the console to escape from me. It's a bit silly, really. Anyway, I caught him, and, well, let's just say martial arts are a very good investment of time, energy and interest. The Nusian Aikido, the pinch in the right place, knocked him out cold. And I must admit, when he fell to the decking, I did give myself a very broad smile indeed. But these were the men who were taking me to trial, and very possibly to my execution, so I had no qualms about how I was going to treat them. They were both alive, but incapacitated, which served my purpose very well. I looked at the controls. I knew I didn't have much time in which to act. The controls had been set, so I didn't have to worry about that. And then, within mere seconds of me leaving the Castellan's prone form on the floor, I heard the all too familiar sound of the transduction barrier being deactivated and the time capsule slipping through. And then my fingers danced over the controls as I diverted the ship from the destination that was programmed, which of course was the security hub, to the Celestial Intervention Agency's own headquarters, where my own humble Type 40 TARDIS was parked. I think I worked quite well under pressure. Well, certainly that day I did. I managed to land in a little bit of a corner, out of the way, where nobody would notice. And then, leaving you on the floor by the door, I peered out to see what was going on. Now, I knew that everything in the CIA was under review, and so I was hoping that the place would be unoccupied and shut down. It was, mostly. There were just two Chancery Guard doing a little task. They were preparing to move my TARDIS to the security hub. I thought, now, I had to think fast. What do I do? What do I do? I've got to stop them. And suddenly I remembered. Yes. So, I pushed back my shoulders and strode towards them like I owned the place. If you act confidently, Bernard, people tend to take you seriously. I say tend to. It doesn't work in all circumstances. But on this occasion, it did. Partly because I had an added advantage. So as I approached them, I said, "What's going on here? What are you men doing?" They looked me up and down, and of course I was wearing this, so obviously non-Gallifreyan attire. And they went back to their task and said, "We're preparing to move this. What's it to you?" So I said to them, "I am your superior officer," and flashed my psychic paper at them, which they looked at, and thankfully it worked. They believed me, and before they could say anything further, I took control of the situation. "So, I'm here to take charge," I said. "You are dismissed. Go back to the Chancery Guard. I don't need any assistance. This will be a very simple matter to complete." They looked at each other, and it seemed as if maybe they were going to demur, perhaps insist that they stay. So I stared at them imperiously and said, "I'm perfectly capable of dealing with this matter alone. I gave you an order. Return to the Chancery Guard headquarters." They saluted and departed. When they were out of the way, I went into my TARDIS. Everything seemed okay, although I'm sure that maybe someone had been tinkering with the console. It's probably Maltravers before he was removed from office. Doesn't matter who it was, I intend to put everything back in place. But I knew everything was in order, at least in terms of getting the ship working, and that was the most important thing. So, I rushed back to the Stealth 900, opened the door, noticed that the Castellan was still out cold, as was his companion. I scooped you up in my arms and ran back to my TARDIS, and then away. Fortunately, I had memorized the code that one has to transmit to access the transduction barrier that surrounds Gallifrey. They accepted the code, and I was out, free. And then into the vortex and beyond. Now, I brought us to the Eye of Orion for a little bit of peace and quiet, and I must admit, Bernard, for the first day or so here, I just wanted to relax, to reflect on things. And then I began work on you. I went down into some of the lower levels of the TARDIS to find bits and pieces that I could use to make good my promise to you, to get you working again. And here you are, with speech centres and fully operational. And as I said already, this is only the beginning. Oh, what adventures we shall have together, Bernard. I can offer you all of time and space. And unlike an organic companion, well, you're going to be with me for a very, very long time. Our first adventure is complete. Here's to many more over the years ahead.